Welcome to another episode of the Fundraising Partnership podcast, where we talk about all things to do with charity lotteries, regular giving, and face-to-face fundraising. On this episode, we're going to talk about the importance of a strong supporter journey. We'll talk about the benefits and the steps to setting up a journey that builds a warm relationship with donors, one which will help increase retention, gain additional gifts, and eventually put you in a position to ask about leaving a gift in their will. I'm going to start off by saying that I know that not every charity has a supporter journey in place, and you shouldn't feel bad for this. I know how busy you are just doing the day job, with everything that's thrown at you. I was the same when I was managing the lottery and regular giving at Sue Ryder. For the first year of our lottery, all the donors received from us was a welcome pack and an A&L. Then they got biannual newsletters. A journey just wasn't top of my priority list at that time. I was busy trying to start the lottery, launch it, and then recruit new donors. So this podcast, it's just intended to gently nudge those of you that don't have a strong supporter journey to start thinking about the importance of how communicating with your donors, it will build a stronger relationship with them. So this one's going to be a two-parter. This episode will explain what a supporter journey is and the importance of the communications you send and the importance of the language that you use. Part 2 is going to be with a guy called Ben Suffle from QTS Fundraising. Now, they're a specialist telephone fundraising agency who, like the Fundraising Partnership, like to get really stuck into so much more. And that's through a desire to learn and be the best that they can be. So look out for that episode. Ben is a great guy, and you're sure to learn something from that one. So, first of all, Step 1, let's start talking about data. Does your data show you any trends for when people are cancelling their lottery or regular giving subscription? Look, we all know cancellations are the highest in the early stages of a new donor's relationship with us. But engaging with these new donors and thanking them, making them feel valued, showing that their gifts actually do make a difference, well, the data shows that you can make a big dent in these early cancellations. So if you were to look at your data, when would be the perfect time to thank people? And what's the most impactful way to thank people? Welcome or thank you calling can have such a massive impact on donors because of the personal touch. When we talk to Ben in the next episode, you'll hear about the double-digit improvements to retention that he's seen when thank you or welcome calling has been introduced. So we've checked the data. We're going to now need to look at mapping out what this early journey is. So write down the communications that you're planning to send. What are the essential mailings? What are the essential messages? And when are you going to send them, and in what format? Is there a point in this journey where they stop receiving product-specific information and migrate onto a different journey? So they'll stop hearing about the lottery and start hearing more about the charity with a little touch on the lottery to make it personalised to them. Imagine this map as like a flowchart with the eventual outcome of you wanting to be in a position where you can ask your donor if they would consider leaving you a gift in their will. What actions do you need to take from sign up to then eventually get to that really important question? For me, there's a really important point that I want to make. You wouldn't ask someone to marry you before you've taken them out on a date, before you've found out whether you're compatible and then had many months of a strong relationship. You need to make sure that this is an opportunity that's going to last. And the same should be the approach that you take when you're looking at a supporter journey and popping the big question about a legacy. Build that relationship, and make sure you ask at the right point for that individual in their journey. You're going to need your journey to build a relationship, to tie the donor closer to your cause. So when mapping out, it's important to factor in that this is a massive step for a donor and you shouldn't rush this point. If you're new to supporter journeys, I think that this is where you should consider asking your professional networks, people from other charities, for help. Ask what they're doing and find a charity that's already way down the path of supporter journeys and look at the results from their efforts and what can you glean from that to introduce into your supporter journey. So we've talked about the process of what a supporter journey is and how to plan for one, how to map it out. Now I just want to talk about content. It honestly starts with the initial recruitment. Now I'm just going to focus this on face-to-face. That's what we do at the Fundraising Partnership, so it would be daft of me not to. But your supporter journey with a face-to-face fundraiser, that's where it starts. It starts with their pitch and what they've focused on. If the conversation was around how they could win on a lottery, and, well, you can give some money back to charity at the same point, then the donors will more than likely cancel, no matter what the communications you send them. They were in it for the prize, not in it for the cause. However, if the conversation with the fundraiser focuses on the cause and the amazing work that you're doing, then you're off to a good start. Your journey has already begun at that point. It's essential that what you do next and over the next couple of weeks really connects with that donor. First of all, everything that you want to do next should be about reducing buyer's guilt and reaffirming that A, the sign-up that they've just gone through was genuine, and B, that they've done an amazing thing by signing up and supporting your cause. So build confidence with your new donors. So send things like, here at the partnership, we'll send things like an automatic email as soon as they sign up, and a text message so that the supporter immediately knows that this was genuine. The email and text message can even have a link to a video thanking donors for signing up and telling them how much of a difference their donations will make. Even better if that video can be filmed from a nurse or someone involved heavily in the care from your charity. Then, next we're on to your welcome pack and your advance notification letter. Now, yes, your ANL has formal information that's required by law, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the information should be formal. I spoke with a children's charity the other day who were very open and said that they didn't have a supporter journey and all they send is the ANL and then hope for the best. My advice to them was simple about starting a new journey, and it wasn't to create a long-winded letter from the chief exec or to create some massive information pack. To get them started whilst they were planning the rest of their journey, all I asked them to do was go and speak to their art therapy lead in the hospice and ask them to ask the children who they care for to paint pictures to the donors. Paint a picture thanking the donors for the money that they give that helps them and it helps them be looked after. Then ask them to write a simple, short thank you message to the people who do donate money. These could be scanned in and printed as a picture postcard, and then the thank you message scanned in and on the reverse. If this was sent with an ANL from this children's hospice, the impact would be bigger than anything they could imagine for something which is so simple as a postcard. The emotional connection that would make and tie the donor to the cause, it would make them realise that their donations really mattered. I'm not cancelling if I get that postcard, but I tell you what, I'm also not going to read a two-sided A4 from the chief exec telling me how amazing the charity is, how specialised the nurses are, and how brilliant the charity services are. The postcard would melt my heart. The letter would probably have zero impact on me. It's all about getting the right message across. So after you've sent your ANL and your welcome pack, whatever you might decide to do, then we should be talking about thanking. However you choose to do it, whether it's a text message, telephone or email, the whole point here is to stop people from cancelling their monthly gifts. There's loads of data out there to say that telephone calls to your donors are hugely well received by supporters. The personal connection that you can have on a telephone call, the fact that you've gone out of your way to call someone just to say thank you, that's why there's such a huge impact on reducing attrition for those that you do manage to call. But with any form of contact with supporters, it's key to have backup plans to ensure that your message has the best chance of being received. You don't have the correct opt-ins to contact every donor the same way. Not every communication gets through to the donors. Not everyone will open their emails, so the message is lost. Do you then resend the message to those donors where your email system tells you that they didn't open the first message? Can you resend that message? What will you do if they don't open for a second time? How will you make sure you get that message across? Otherwise, the message is lost. If you're calling people, you'll only get to speak to around 40% of the people that you've got the correct opt-ins for. What's your backup option for those people that don't answer the telephone? Can you text these donors? Do you have the permissions to text donors? Do you need to be asking your face-to-face agencies to recruit more donors with text message opt-ins? Increase their KPIs? I think text message, there's such a powerful and underutilized method of communication for charities. Yeah, of course you can only use them for people who've opted in, but for those that you can send them to, well, we all know how hard it is not to check your phone when you get a message. What I'm trying to say here is have backup options to ensure that you get your thank you message across in these early stages. The more people who are thanked, the higher chance there is that you'll reduce your early cancellations. Then, for me, it's up to you and your data what you do next. But I'd be looking to make sure that people start to receive your newsletters. It keeps your calls front and centre. But you should avoid sending them any requests for additional gifts for a set period of time. So they've received their welcome, they've been thanked, you've started sending them newsletters. You now need to decide at what point you are going to let the rest of the charity have access to that data to make those additional gift requests. The Christmas appeal is always one that the individual giving manager wants them included on. So have a conversation about what comes next. And then you've got to think about at what point are you going to ask for more money? At what point are you going to upgrade from one lottery to two, or from a £5 regular gift to a £10 regular gift? Only you can decide this, and some of this will come down to other internal pressures, maybe about when your legacy team wants access to their data. You'll have to see about making sure you've got your upgrade in before the legacy team come calling. So my legacy team always wanted the data at 24 months. But originally that's when I was doing my upgrades. So we ended up having to move my upgrades forward. So the legacy team had the data that they needed at 24 months. Their research showed that that was the optimal time to start conversations about legacies. So I had to start testing at what point was the best place for me to start asking about an upgrade. And that's really key. Test and learn and use this information to your advantage. Some people like to thank each year, reminding the donors of the gifts that they've helped the charity with. Others don't like to send communications as they feel it reminds the lottery or regular giver that they've got a direct debit. Only you will know what's right for your charity, and you do this through, again, testing and learning. There's so much that you can do with supporter journeys, but a key for me is to make them multi-channel, a mix of print, email, text message and phone. The message needs to be personalised to the individual for you to build a relationship with them. If we can aim for our communications to be as relevant to the area of our charity that interests our supporters, they will want to listen to what we have to say. They'll be more engaged. But how do you find out that information? How do you find out what that supporter is interested in? This could happen at the sign-up stage, where a face-to-face fundraiser might have a list of options that they could ask the donor about and select which the supporter says is an area that's closest to them. Any updates that you could then send them would have a specific focus on what matters most to your donor, whilst introducing them to the other areas of their charity. Could you send this in email and have an embedded questionnaire into one of your early emails, finding more information out about your donors to make sure that you communicate with them about the things they want to hear about? But the key with everything, what I'm trying to say here, is connect with your donors through your communications. Talk in a language that reminds them of how valuable they are to you. Share information that matters to them and not what matters to you. Communicate in a multitude of different ways with backup options for those that might not get the message at the first time of trying. So the next edition of the podcast, we're going to be chatting with Ben about the benefits of telephone. We'll talk about supporter journeys, reactivation, thanking, legacies. Knowing Ben, it will be a great chat, and at least for you, it won't just be me rattling on. So that's it for me for this one. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you all next time.